Chapter 3 Experiencing Anguish. I woke up the next morning full of mixed emotions, sadness, anger, perplexity, as well as guilt. The pain was so great. It metaphorically felt like I was being stabbed in the heart by the person I loved the most. This was so hurtful. Questions were churning in my mind. Why did he do this to me? Why did he treat me with such cruelty? What have I just done? Knowing a person for so long and ending things in this way. It was one of the most difficult decisions I've had to make in my entire lifetime. I couldn't understand why he did this to me. I then burst into tears once again. A couple of hours later, I knew I had to stop myself from crying and get up out of bed. I eventually got up, had a shower, got dressed, and made myself a coffee. I wasn't motivated to do anything and was walking around in a daze. I was still grappling with everything that recently happened. Nothing was making sense. I was thinking about how he must be feeling, what his brother would have said to him. I was feeling awful about how I ended things. However, I couldn't take it anymore. I was exhaustively, emotionally spent. I couldn't concentrate. All I wanted to do was to mope around the house, thinking about everything that had transpired over the years and feeling sorry for myself. For wasting so many years on someone who didn't love me, who didn't want to be with me, who financially stole from me, who hurt me emotionally, and to top it off, wanted to hurt me with dark magic as well. If that's how he treats someone who loved him unconditionally, then I don't know what else to do apart from being faithful, committed, loyal, supportive, compassionate, and kind. He took my kindness for weakness and took advantage of me to the nth degree. What sort of a person does this? My inner rage was coming out now. I know who he is. He's an egotistical narcissist who is only consumed with himself, selfish, and doesn't give a damn about anyone else and their feelings. As long as he gets what he wants, it doesn't matter who he hurts in the process. The worst part is that I don't truly know if he understands what he's actually doing to himself and others. Then I was thinking to myself that I wasn't obviously good enough for him, for reasons unbeknownst to me. I felt that it was my fault because I couldn't understand what I had done wrong to make him react in this way. The point was, I couldn't remember anything I had done wrong to hurt him. I was torturing and belittling myself, and I knew that I had to stop thinking in this way. My heart was completely broken. I forced myself to do the bare minimum of tasks throughout the day that needed to be done. I would just continue to sob uncontrollably throughout the day, and of course, the worst was at night when I went to bed and my mind was wandering. Intermittently, I would think about my entire life to date, thinking about the good times we had together, but in hindsight, also thinking about how things could have been different, either on my own or with someone else. I thought about where I would be, what I could have achieved, who I might have been with, or would I have been on my own all this time? The worst of it all was that I felt guilty about being in a hidden relationship with someone who I was hoping and waiting to be together with for the rest of my life. It dawned on me down the track that when I mentioned to him to meet my family, he was still hesitant about wanting to take the next step. I said to him that he needed to get a job and be stable before he could be introduced to my family. Due to this, alarm bells were ringing in my head. I didn't realise this at the time, however, in the end, it was fortunate for me that it didn't eventuate because his heart wasn't in it. I didn't want to carry this secret around with me any longer. I burst into uncontrollable tears filled with sorrowful emotion, crying out in my bedroom, saying sorry to Mum and Dad for not letting them know, because I love them dearly, and my sister and her family who live close by, always being loving and caring towards me, and I them. I didn't ever want to have any secrets from them all. I also cried out to God and told him I was sorry for what I had done wrong and truly repented of my sins. I was carrying around this heaviness in my heart I felt for years, for not honouring God, myself, or my family, and after what had happened in time, finally accepted that there was no future for us any longer. A relationship cannot last when it's only one-sided, when you love a person and they don't love you in return. My heart was burdened. I came to the conclusion that what he wanted was different to what I wanted moving forward. It all became crystal clear. He didn't want to be with me. Why not be a decent human being and tell me that you don't want to be with me? The most loving and sincere thing he could have done was to let me go and to allow me to find someone else to love that loved me in return. That would have freed us both to get on with our lives. It was obvious to me in the end that he was just using me for what he could get out of me. I was also then thinking to myself, what else has he not told me or done? What is the truth? If he thought the grass was greener on the other side because he could find someone else more attractive, wealthier, or both, why didn't he just tell me that I'm not the person he's looking for and end it? Yes, it wouldn't have been easy for him to tell me this, and of course I would have been upset. However, it might have been easier to deal with all this if I had just known sooner. Then I thought, wasn't I good enough? Perhaps he just wanted to use me, get what he could out of me, and keep me as an option whilst he sees other women to either find the one or keep me on the side and see other women at the same time. In a polyamorous relationship, without letting me know until he found the right one, and then dumped me? I also thought, did he want an open relationship, seeing who he wanted, when he wanted, and hiding the fact that he was doing this? If he had told me he wanted to do this, I definitely would not have accepted it, and we would have ended it sooner. I would have preferred for him to be honest with me than string me along. In my opinion, he was too selfish being a narcissist, only concerned about what he wanted and not consider the other person's feelings. He wanted his cake with a cherry on top, and to eat it too. I was inconsolable and was in bed for most of that day. I was thinking to myself, there's too much that's happened, and I didn't feel comfortable discussing my life story with a complete stranger or even my sister, as I knew she would be angry with me initially, and I also didn't want to burden her with my problems. She was busy enough with her family and dealing with her own health issues. There was no one else I could confide in about all this. I knew I had nothing to lose but to outpour my soul, my feelings, my emotions, my heartbreak, and my pain to the Lord. Therefore, I decided to confide in the Most High God in my secret place in prayer. I vented and purged to the Lord about all that I was feeling inside, and then repented of my sins. I felt guilty about not being open and honest with my family. I genuinely was sorry for my sins and was truly remorseful. This was so mentally and emotionally draining. Deep in my heart, though, I knew this was the right thing for me to do. I felt a huge weight off my shoulders after carrying this burden for so long.